Please rise, embody your spirit, and join us.
We do rest in this love. Good morning and welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I am Scott Yeomans, your service associate, and we're joined today by Reverend Ruth Reinhardt. Today's music is provided by Tad Coriath, Amy Austin, and Debbie Larson. Thank you. And today's tech team, Larry Sherwood, Paula Zimmerman, Deborah Mensch, and Karen Griglak on Zoom. And today, what can I say about today? This Sunday begins our transition to a space in between. In between the 16-year ministry of Reverend Lydia and the space of that next settled ministry, who we plan to call in 2026. As I say the welcome words today, take a breath and know that we are the hands and heart of this congregation, and that we begin this journey with clear intentions, with our collective wisdom, and with our deep compassion. Those of you on Zoom may wish to turn on your video, shift into gallery mode, and scroll through the screens so you can experience the beauty of this fellowship. And those here in person, be aware of the beauty that is in everyone all around you. You are welcome here today. You are all loved here today. In all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes and sizes, gifts and challenges, you are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. In all the ways that you make your living and the places you are from, you are all welcome here. With all the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here. No matter how long you have been away or how soon you will return, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with a curious mind, a loving heart, and a willing spirit. We welcome you today. If you are new here, we are glad you found us and hope that in this community, whether you're with us in person or virtually, you can experience the warmth and love of this congregation. Please return a few times to really get to know us. We have many opportunities during the week for social connection and spiritual growth. Those on Zoom, please check out the links in the chat to help you get connected. And those in person can stop by the welcome table in our foyer for fellowship information, our newcomer form, and there's also a QR code in the back of the hymnal. Everyone on Zoom is welcome to stay for casual conversation following the service or attend our Inquirers series, which today is about the Caring Council. That will start about 15 minutes following the end of the service. If you are here in person today, you are welcome to coffee hour in Fellowship Hall. All right, if you're joining us on Zoom, please feel free to greet one another in the chat. If you're a newcomer, do let us know so we can greet you there. And those of you in the sanctuary, please take a moment to greet your neighbor. Good luck.
This is always a favorite part of the service. It's always a favorite part. Come on in. Hello, hello. Lovelies, if you have a chalice at home, you are welcome to light it with us as Scott lights our fellowship chalice. So we know where all the chalices are lit. For those of you on Zoom, would you write in the chat, chalice lit in, and then the name of your town. Please say these words along with me as Scott lights our chalice. We light this chalice for the warmth of love and the light of truth and the energy of action. And now I'll sing our bowl again, inviting it to draw you deeper into this present moment and this, our beloved community. We will have a moment of silence together. opening words today are from the Reverend Mark Bellatini. He was Unitarian Universalist's first openly gay minister, and he served many, many years and is well beloved in the congregation I served last year in California, in Hayward, California, the Star King UU Church. And he says, "Love, you are as strong as a dark blue mountain. Love, you are as fluid as a wide silver river. Love, you are as splendid as a clear night sky. Love, you are as mysterious as a dark forest. Love, you are as wise as enduring friendship. Love, you are true power, not mere distraction. Not truth. Yes, truth. Truth, not deceit. Purpose, not impulse. Poetry, not prose. Sing, not sang. Now more than tomorrow, but tomorrow more than yesterday. Love, condense yourself into this moment. Permeate the silence that joins us in community, so that in the fire of the words to come, the promises of this hour may be sealed in peace. May it be so."
Let's make some more music together. We are going to sing hymn number 346 in the gray hymnal. Come sing a song with me. We'll sing all 4 verses. Number 346 in the gray hymnal. Would you rise in body or spirit and join us? Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me.
As we enter into this in-between time, let us look to another community that has gone through a liminal space. The Hebrew Scriptures focus on a time of liminality after the Israelites left slavery in Egypt, crossed the sea, and were in the desert for 40 years before crossing the Jordan into Canaan, their promised land. I do want to lift up the current suffering happening in Gaza and the complicated conflict that continues to unfold with heartbreaking proportions there. This conflict has roots in the very story we are reflecting on now. 40 years is a long time, much longer than we will be in our in-between time. But it may feel like that for some of us. And we may feel like we're wandering around, lost, not making progress. We may even forget that there is a powerful love holding us through all of it. The Israelites, under the leadership of Moses, were not content during their wanderings. In Psalms chapter 8, we hear how often they rebelled against him in the wilderness and grieved him in the desert. They tested God again and again and provoked the Holy One of Israel. In the book of Numbers, there's this passage where the Israelites are complaining and God overhears it. And God gets so angry that God sets fire to the camp. And so the people complain to Moses, and Moses has to go to God and clean up the mess, and God eventually puts out the fire. Can you see where I'm going with this? On reading this, I can imagine something similar happening here. Maybe someone overhears someone complaining about, I don't know, coffee. But they don't hear the whole story, right? And then misunderstanding spreads. And before you know it, there's a rumor going around that the interim minister has canceled coffee hour. So discontent spreads, and then the leadership has to come in. The leadership has to come in and quell the uprising and remind us who we are. Remind us that we are a people of coffee.
It's a metaphor, right?
Betts asked if this was a metaphor. I don't think so. And yes. So there's another passage in Numbers that I think will resonate with us. And I'm quoting here, "And the Israelites wept again and said, 'If only we had meat to eat. We remember the fish we used to eat in Egypt for nothing. The cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now our strength is dried up, and there's nothing at all but this manna.'" Do we remember manna? Now, this manna was a miracle. It fell with the dew every morning, and the Israelites collected it wherever they went, and they would make cakes out of it, cakes that tasted like bread baked with oil. I can see how only eating manna for 40 years could wear on a person. Trust that here at the fellowship we will continue to have coffee hour. I wanted to reassert that. And we'll share in the abundant offerings of baked goods that arrive prepared every Sunday. Change is hard. And I expect that there will be some complaining, some confusion, and I expect continued moments of loving connection, deep caring, and even comic relief. But perhaps some of you will still long for Reverend Lydia's message. And this is okay. It's a natural response. Let this longing not be a deep well that you fall into, but allow the longing to guide you back into your relationship with this community and to the energy of action that is calling us into the next evolution of ourselves and of the fellowship. Each week, we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives, more than just manna, and of this community by giving half of our plate away to those organizations that share our values. Half of this Sunday's plate will go to Sunflower Seeds Ukraine, an organization that is supported by a group of our members. Sunflower Seeds provides medical aid and protective gear to small groups of defenders and humanitarian assistance to affected civilians. They're a small, multinational, all-volunteer organization that provides flexible and efficient help where it's most needed, with team members in Ukraine and direct contact at the front lines. Representatives from Sunflower Seeds Ukraine will be in Fellowship Hall after the service. I'm curious, are you here in the sanctuary today? Welcome. We're glad you're here. You can text your donation at the number on the screen, or if you are at the fellowship today, place a donation in the offering plate as it passes. Please give generously as you so often do. As our musical reflection begins, we invite you to reflect upon and write into the chat, if you're on Zoom, your answer to this question. What lessons have you learned from past traditions? It is transitions, thank you. What lessons have you learned from past transitions?
Thanks, Scott, for that beautiful reflection. I had a piano piece I was going to play, but I think I'd like to do something a little different right now, if it's okay. There's a beautiful hymn that came to mind based on what Scott just spoke about. It's a Holly Near tune that I think maybe we can sing a little bit together. It's called "We Are a Caffeinated People." And it goes a little bit like this, so join in singing if you don't mind. We are a caffeinated people, and we are trembling for our lives. Okay, that's it, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for these gifts as they bless the work of this congregation, bringing love and reason and justice and compassion here and to the world at large. These gifts are consecrated by your love. Thank you. It is so good to be here with you today. It is really, really so good. All of you, those of you on Zoom as well. I have you in gallery view so I can see some of you here. For those of you who don't know, thank you. For those of you who don't know, I was privileged to serve as your intern minister here from August 2015 to June 2016. And then your congregation and my home congregation, Jefferson Unitarian Church, ordained me in October 2016. And then I was really honored and privileged to serve as your assistant minister from January 2017 through June 2018. So I had a really good 3 years with you, and I learned so much from you. And from Reverend Lydia, my goodness, what a mentor she was. And what a tender time to be here with you today, right? So I'm a trained interim minister now. My ministry is transition, and some people say that all ministry is transition, right? Ministers come and ministers go, but the congregation remains, and you are the fellowship, the Boulder Valley UU Fellowship, in a real time of transition. So today I want to talk about the difference between change and transition. Okay? This comes from the Bridges model of transition developed by William Bridges, a management consultant. When I was a seminarian, the Reverend Kelly Dignan asked me to officiate a memorial service that she could not, and she gave me her script for it. So she didn't talk about the Bridges model of transition, but it was in that script. And it was there that I learned about the concept. So transition is the emotional, psychological, and spiritual process that helps us to incorporate change in our lives. A change is a fact. Transition is a process. It has 3 steps. It starts with the ending. And then there is this neutral zone. And then there is a new beginning. When I learned about this, it turned the order of things upside down, right? Transition begins with an ending. And at a memorial service, that ending is obvious. Someone has died. That is the ending. The next stage is the neutral zone. This comes after the ending, but before that new beginning. And the neutral zone, we know, is difficult. It's confusing, it's disorienting, you can feel lost and disengaged. Things aren't what they used to be, they aren't always what they seem. Your routines are shaken up. Your way of being in the world becomes fundamentally different. The final stage in this transition process is the new beginning, and there's some aspects of that that you really can't even imagine right now. You are in the neutral zone right now, dear ones. Think on Moses and the Israelites, as Scott brought to us that story, wandering in the wilderness for 40 years after escaping the slavery in Egypt, but before reaching the promised land. They're in the neutral zone. They didn't know how long it would last. They didn't know where they would end up. It was frustrating. It was chaotic. It was exhausting. People got angry. They had to figure out how to do everything differently. Intense. They were living in tents. So you're not in the desert but obviously you are in a period of transition. And you have been for years, right? The capital campaign that built this new, the new additions to this building. Then you moved out of the building, and then we had COVID, and then you've moved back into the building, and then Reverend Lydia's announcement that she would be leaving, which was several months ago. So the intense part of your transition began when she announced that she would be leaving, but here we are, just 1 week after her last service, and I've heard really wonderful things about the beautiful send-off, the beautiful celebrations that you had here. Of course. She had such a long and successful ministry. It is a lot. And I'm not your interim minister. Reverend Terry will start next week, and she will continue this conversation as your contract minister. It will be a long time in this wilderness, this transition, but part of my role today is to talk about this process as you walk through it together. There is this messiness to it, because there's a messiness to all human relationship. Yeah. Transitions create anxiety, and where you want your congregation to be a place of solace, spirituality, and renewal, sometimes it isn't when that messiness is happening. I was told by a very wise person in my 20s, and this has stood me in good stead. Everyone I care about, every significant person in my life, generally, they will fail me at some point. I will be hurt by the people I love, and I will hurt the people that I love. It's our human messiness. And there's such goodness here in this congregation. I know that. You know that. And you believe, and I believe, you'll get through this transition time. Understanding the neutral zone can, I believe, bring some comfort when things get confusing again, when it gets hard, as it always does, and when you're feeling discouraged and might even be wanting to give up, right? These are normal feelings. So what I'm wondering about here, and the reflection question for the offering was a really good question. So in these years of transitions in this congregation, what are the endings for you? Where are the endings for you? The significant ones that launch you into that neutral zone. What might still be unresolved, personally or in this congregation? So as you move forward, I invite you to explore this process of transitioning, the emotional, psychological, and spiritual process that helps to integrate the changes. The new beginning you are looking forward to is beyond today. It's beyond Reverend Terry as well, and it's beyond that interim minister that you will have with you for a couple of years. That new beginning, hopefully, will be that new settled minister you will call in the fall of 2026, 2.5 years from now. And I just bless you all in finding a wonderful match for you, someone who will, again, be with you for a long time. I tell people not to rush through the neutral zone, in spite of how painful it can be. It can be a very generative and creative time, a time of mystery and wonder. You can emerge from the neutral zone enlightened, renewed, transformed, and ready for aspects of that new beginning that you can't see yet, you don't know. So what do you need while you are wandering in the desert? What do you need? When you're off balance or overwhelmed, my goodness, just COVID can make it seem like too much at times. So what else are you holding? What else are you holding on to? Perhaps needing to release. Loss always accompanies change, even good changes. To make the transition successfully, it helps to acknowledge grief and anger and yearning and even despair. So many feelings, and you know you have grief work in your future. Of course you do. So perhaps one of the best ways to live through the neutral zone is allowing it to be a period of time for slowing down. Imagine that. For slowing down, sitting back and observing while having a lot of compassion and forgiveness for yourself and everyone around you. People can act out, yes, friends, colleagues, loved ones. People can act out in ways that are not their highest selves. Maybe they're aware of it and maybe they're not. Compassion and forgiveness for yourself and for everyone around you. You will. I know you will. So we sang this song, There Is a Love. And I was out in California for a year, and the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker was just a presence everywhere. She led our Unitarian Universalist Seminary, Star King School for Ministry, for many years, and she wrote the lyrics to that song. And we sang it every day at Star King UU Church in Hayward, where I was serving. And we had hand motions that went with the lyrics. So we're just going to do it again, but I'm going to teach you these hand movements. So there is a love holding me. There is a love holding you. There is a love holding all. And we rest in this love. So will you sing it again? There is a love holding me. There is a love holding you. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. One more time. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding you. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. Thank you. Thank you. Another wise person once told me a long time ago, you know, when you're anxious, just give yourself a hug. It works, actually. And I believe it's true. I believe it's true that there is a love holding me and holding you. I believe that. I feel it, and sometimes I don't, and it's hard when I don't, right? It's hard when we don't feel it, but I believe it, and that helps me to reconnect with it. I appreciate the immediacy of it, right? There is a love holding me and you and all of us. Even when it is sometimes so hard to reconcile the goodness of humanity with the violence and the brutality that we too often just rain down upon each other. But we, in this room, because you're here with us, we're living right now. This is the moment that we have. We are alive right now. We breathe together sometimes, and that oxygen comes in, and I think of that oxygen which just pours into us as the love that surrounds us. I like to mindfully breathe. Let's just do that, 1 or 2 breaths. Ram Dass's words from the 1960s. Remember him? Be here now. And the here is interesting now, isn't it? So many of us in this room and so many of you on Zoom, and we're, like physics tells us, we're sharing molecules, right? We are. Quantum physics now has confirmed what the Buddha taught 2,500 years ago, right? That separation is an illusion. Isolation is an illusion. We are not separate. We are together right here, right now, physically and virtually. We are together. So in the future, things will be different for you, but right now you are in the neutral zone with an invitation to be open to the emotional and psychological and spiritual process that will help you to integrate it all. There's so much. If you are open to possibility, if you are open to change, open to shifts in culture, it will be easier on you. If you remember that you will need to forgive yourself and bring compassion to yourself and others in this transitional time, it will be easier on you and everyone around you. So I invite you to reflect on these words in the coming weeks and months on what your ending is, or what your endings are that brought you into this liminal space of the neutral zone. What are you doing to companion yourself and others through this? What questions do you have? I encourage you to keep track of these questions, perhaps even journal about it. What other transition processes have you been through? What is similar and what is different? Did you get to a new beginning? Was it what you expected? Can you see that happening here as well? I expect you can. I believe in religious community, like yours, not like the ones who preach fear and apocalypse and shame and hell. Shame be gone, right? That's I believe in Unitarian Universalist principles, communities where we are called to come to know our own beliefs, where we don't submit to a creed that comes on high from the church above. I believe in our principles that call us to our highest selves. I also really believe in the proposed language of the Article 2 section of our national bylaws, where we are shifting to values with love at the center. I believe in Unitarian Universalism, which calls us into living into community with each other as we work to build that more beautiful world that we all know is possible. So the theme for this month, you know, is liberatory love, liberating love. And, oh my goodness, January 22nd is that anniversary of Roe v. Wade over 50 years ago. And who could imagine where we are now, right? But it made me think of this really sweet and funny thing that happened when I was here. So I was driving in the neighborhood, and actually my daughter was probably 13 at the time, Amelia. And in the back seat was Rachel, former youth coordinator. And so you might remember this, and I meant to look and see if it was still there, but we came out onto South Boulder Road and turned right, And I said to Amelia, there's that pregnancy clinic right there. And I want to do education about it. They'll give you a pregnancy test, right? But they will, they're anti-abortion, and they will absolutely try to get you to not have an abortion. And Rachel popped up from the back seat going, whoa, this is a private conversation. I shouldn't be in the car for this. Like, as if, I was telling Amelia where to get a pregnancy test, which I wasn't. I was trying to educate her about these clinics. So Amelia, 13 years old, says, don't worry about it. Sex is my mom's favorite topic. And then she goes, no, it's her second favorite topic. And Rachel, of course, says, well, what's her first favorite topic? And Amelia says, the magic of love. You are hard to follow. You're naturally funny. I have to stick in a funny story like that in between my earnest and serious sermon. I want to share a poem with you here that I'm sure many of you know, but it's worth listening to it again. It's from the book Bless the Imperfect, Meditations for Congregational Leaders. For all of you with us today who bring your particular gifts to this community, to show up, your contributions change the whole, to show up and be vulnerable, to show up to give help, and also show up and be willing to receive help when you need it. The poem is dated, and it does use church language, and still I find it meaningful. I offer it in honor of you, Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. It's Long Haul People by Rudy Nemser. You find them in churches when you're lucky. Other places too, though I mostly only know the ecclesiastical varieties. Long haul people, upon whose shoulders and pocketbooks and casseroles and daylight nighttime hours a church is built and maintained. After the brass is tarnished and the cushions need restitching, they pay their pledges full and on time, even when the music's modern. They support each canvas. They support each canvas. It's in the poem. They support each canvas, even though the sermons are not short. They mow lawns and come to suppers and teach Sunday school when there's no one else, and they'll miss the service. Chris is out there with the kids missing the service. Asked what they think of the minister or plans for the kitchen renovation or the choral anthem, the Christmas pageant, or the color of the bathroom paint, they'll reply, individuals and fashions arrive and pass. The church, their church, will be here, steady and hale for a long time. It will. For long haul people, bless a church with a very special blessing. Here at Boulder Valley, UU Fellowship, you are surrounded and you are amongst many long haul people. Over the years, creating this beautiful community, all the small groups that gather and care for each other, becoming deeply rooted in each other's lives, committees and task forces, present and previous members of boards, the board and other elected leadership, membership, building and grounds. Obviously, I can't go through them all. There's so many here. This is such an alive community. Faithful lives devote time and talent and treasure to their faith communities. And you are living these faithful lives. You are resilient as a community, amazing in so many ways. thank you. Thank you for your faithful lives. Thank you for all that you give. And in this time of transition, stay close. Stay close here. I will end with the words of the Reverend Dr. Mark Morrison Reed, one of our Unitarian Universalist scholars, a faculty member at the Meadville Lombard Theological School, and the coordinator of the Sankofa archive there. It is not possible nor necessary to know the outcomes of our actions. Therefore, we act in faith. Faith asks us not that we succeed, but that we try. And we try because we yearn to live out our values. Conscience urges us on, for we have dreamed of a better, more just tomorrow. We care, and therefore we act. In acting, we risk having our hearts broken 1,000 times. Therefore, we are sustained by hope. And that is the price those who cleared the way for us accepted. It is what living fully, deeply, and with integrity demands. May it be so. Thank you.
Let's sing together again. Hymn number 131 in your gray hymnal. We'll sing about how love will help us through this transition. Love will guide us. Number 131 in the gray hymnal, Would You Rise in Body or Spirit?
And now I invite us into our time of community connection, our time of sacred sharing. If you're on Zoom and you would like to share a joy or concern, please type it into the chat window, sending it to everyone and letting us know briefly what is in your heart today. I will read aloud, hopefully, what you share. I can get to it on my phone, and Scott will add a stone to our sacred waters on your behalf. If you are in the sanctuary today, you may come up front share your joy or concern using the microphone, holding it straight out in front of you, and you can add a stone to the water, or you can add a stone in silence as well. Feel free to keep your mask on when you share if you would like. And wherever you are, please tell us your name and where you live when you share. Our hearts break regularly with the brutality and the violence, the suffering in our world, in our own country, our own state, the Boulder Valley, and right here amongst us. So we place one stone for this. And last, we are in religious community. We do this. We share ourselves with each other. We share joys and concerns. And some of them we speak out loud, and some of them we still hold close to our heart. So we place one last stone for the joys and the sorrows that we keep in the silence of our heart, and yet knowing that we are part of the interdependent web of life. Thank you. Spirit of life, spirit of love, known by many names, a spirit of presence that is within us and that we can turn to. A spirit of the human connections amongst us, imperfect creatures that we are, sometimes so frustrated and even raging at the events of the day, and sometimes our seeming inability to affect any change. Let the spirit of liberative love guide us always in our grounded presence, in our thoughts and in our words and in our deeds. Let us calm our own nervous systems so that we are better able to rise and meet the day, meet what emerges in front of us with a clear heart and a clear mind to be guided by love. We come together in community to be lifted to our highest selves. And when we fall, when we fail to live up to our highest intentions, let us know that we are enough and that we can repair as best we can. May we know that we are holy in spite of our failings. May everyone who has suffered violence find comfort and safety and the healing that comes in time. May anyone who needs care, whether that's physical or mental and emotional or spiritual, and those of you who are caregivers, may each of your hands be sure. May your heart be open. May you have clarity of mind. And all those that are caring for you as well. We know grief. We know grief. Several of you have spoken grief. And there is that neutral zone. And so open yourselves to this process of transition. Rail against what you need to rail against. Cry every tear that you need to cry. And walk through it. Let us honor all beings, human and non-human, who are in our lives, and help us live our lives for the better. Let us breathe deeply together. Let us know that life-giving oxygen as the love that surrounds us all, surrounds each one of you. You are blessed this day. Beautiful, beautiful folk. You are precious, and you are whole and holy and loved. May you find peace and grace in small moments. May you know the love that surrounds you. Amen. Namaste. And blessed be.
This Sunday, we will begin our Inquirers series. Today, you are invited to get a coffee and return here to the sanctuary a few minutes after the service ends to hear from the Caring Council. This includes neighborhood connectors, thoughtful endings program, lay pastoral care, and more. Next Sunday, we will be welcoming Reverend Terry, so there will not be an Inquirers series next Sunday. Also next Sunday at 2 p.m., our organizing group, the Boulder Valley Community Action Network, will host Together Colorado Community Unity Celebration right here in the fellowship. Please come so that we have a warm welcome for our diverse community allies while learning about victories and next steps on affordable housing, minimum wage, and mental health access. Thank you.
We want to send you out today with a lot of energy and excitement and light. So would you please stand and join us in a version of This Little Light of Mine. Have fun. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. We can all spread light, so I'm gonna let it shine. We can all spread light, so I'm gonna let it shine. We can all spread light, so I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I will stomp my feet and I will clap my hands and shout, shout. I will run around and I'll jump off the ground and shout, shout. I will stomp my feet and I will clap my hands and shout, shout. I will run around and I'll jump off the ground and shout, shout. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of
Please join us in the chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Oh, my dears, come here. Come here. Imperfect as always, right? You know, and sometimes we hold hands now, and sometimes we just bump shoulders, but this coming together at the end of this beautiful hour that was like no other, because you were here. You make it different. You change us with your presence. So glad you were here. And the energy in this room and the love in this congregation. Shore yourself up. There's hard work out there. Blessings upon you as you go out and do it, and then come back again next week. Love you all. Good to see you.
Thank you.